Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a deeply fascinating sociological mystery. We're going to decode a massive, highly predictable pattern in internet culture and algorithmic manipulation. We're looking at the dark psychology of Pinoy baiting and tracing exactly why the digital Filipino audience has become one of the absolute most lucrative targets for content creators worldwide. Okay, let's jump right in. So, what actually is the internet's ultimate cheat code for virality? Seriously, if you spend any time on YouTube or TikTok, you've probably noticed this very specific strategy. There is a highly predictable, highly calculated method used by foreign creators, often ones with very small followings, to absolutely explode their view counts almost overnight. It's not luck, guys. It's a formula. There is an exact, calculated formula happening here. Picture this. Some totally unrecognized foreign creator decides to film themselves trying a local fast food spot, like Jollibee, for the very first time. Or maybe they film a reaction to a Filipino singer hitting a crazy high note. Or they just intentionally mispronounce basic Tagalog greetings, like mabuhay. The result? Literally millions of views in a matter of days, and a comment section completely flooded with thousands of Philippine flag emojis and phrases like proud to be Pinoy. But to understand why this kind of superficial cultural integration triggers such massive engagement, we can't just look at the internet. Section 1. The Pabati culture, the analog roots of digital thirst. To really wrap our heads around this modern digital thirst, we have to travel way back to the analog television era of the Philippines. We need to talk about Pabati. Now, if you grew up watching Philippine TV, this is going to be incredibly familiar to you. It's essentially a traditional television shoutout. You know the drill. A host on a noontime variety show hands on microphone to a random studio audience member, but instead of answering a question, they just rapid-fire greet their mom, their cousins, their entire neighborhood on live broadcast. It became an absolute staple of the culture. But why? Well, when you track the evolution of Philippine television, you've really got to look closely at the period between 1972 and 1981, the martial law era. Because of strict media censorship and political control back then, the television industry basically leaned entirely into pure entertainment and escapism. Noontime variety shows became the absolute primary vehicle for mass cultural participation and, honestly, psychological relief. The TV wasn't just some box in the corner anymore. It was literally the only way for the masses to feel connected to a larger national narrative. And that's where shows introduced famous segments like Juan for All for Juan. Instead of staying in some air-conditioned studio, they brought the cameras directly into impoverished barangays, right down into narrow alleyways. And when that camera pointed at a household, it wasn't just a vanity project. It equated to immediate socio-economic uplift. We're talking cash, massive grocery packages, and national visibility. In a developing country with extreme wealth disparity, getting a Pabati, that shout-out on national TV, meant you temporarily transcended your limitations. You were seen. You existed. Section 2. The Pinoy Pride Paradox. Now, this intense need for visibility actually stems from what's known as colonial mentality. Think about it. The Philippines endured over 3 centuries of Spanish rule, and then decades of American occupation. That prolonged, multi-generational subjugation left a mark. It created a profound national inferiority complex. It's this internalized psychological state where local traits and culture are systematically undervalued, while Western culture is put on a pedestal as inherently superior. The psychological weight of feeling less than on the global stage, it's immense. So, to fight off that feeling of inadequacy, the concept of Pinoy Pride was born. But here's the catch. There is a fatal paradox here. Pinoy Pride relies almost entirely on foreign validation to be activated. It's a fascinating, but kind of tragic sociological quirk. Local achievements, stunning tourist spots, incredible culinary dishes, they often don't feel completely valid to the general public until an outsider, specifically a Westerner, actually praises them. It's essentially a nation subconsciously and continually seeking permission to be proud of itself. Section 3. The infrastructure of attention. Okay, let's look at what happens when you mix this historical trauma with modern hyperconnectivity. The numbers here are just absolutely staggering. At 3 hours and 43 minutes, daily social media usage in the Philippines is the highest global average, period. The country is widely considered the social media capital of the world, boasting a 98% mobile access rate and massive Facebook dominance. Remember that analog Pabati culture we just talked about? The desire to wave at the TV camera? Yeah, that didn't disappear. It seamlessly evolved into the digital comment section.
When millions of Filipinos comment "shout out from the Philippines" on a foreign blog, they're effectively that studio audience waving at the global internet, desperate for the host to acknowledge them.
Section 4. The exploitation algorithm. Pinoy baiting.
This perfect storm leads us right into a trap known as Pinoy baiting. This is a highly deliberate marketing tactic. International creators produce videos centered on the Philippines, not out of some genuine academic curiosity or cultural appreciation, but purely to attract clicks, ad revenue, and algorithmic engagement. They've figured out that the Filipino digital community is exceptionally generous with its praise, and frankly, highly forgiving of superficiality. Make no mistake, this is a calculated commodification of the Filipino identity.
And the stark reality behind the camera? It's incredibly cynical. Take the account of Filipina agriculturist Luisa Mabulo regarding her interaction with a very prominent vlogger. According to her, he allegedly joked that all he needed to do was put the word Philippines in his video title to effortlessly rack up millions of views and harvest what he called brainless Pinoy Pride comments. Yikes, right? This isn't just innocent content creation. It reveals a blatant neo-colonialist attitude that literally views the local population as nothing more than algorithmic fuel to extract engagement and money.
But this exploitation crosses boundaries that are way more severe than just reacting to local fast food. It easily slips into severe cultural appropriation. The absolute textbook case study here involves Apa Whang-Od, the revered centenarian traditional tattoo artist. A major vlogging platform launched a paid online masterclass featuring her. Well, this sparked massive national outrage when her family stated she didn't even understand the nature of the commercialization, let alone provide valid consent. It's a glaring example of indigenous heritage being extracted by a foreign intermediary, packaged up and sold for profit.
Think about the mechanics of rage baiting for a second. It provokes anger and outrage to generate algorithmic success, right? Well, Pinoy baiting uses those exact same mechanical levers, but instead of anger, it provokes pride and vanity. Whether you're furiously defending your country's honor in a comment section or enthusiastically thanking a foreign creator for saying mabuhay, the end result is identical. You're providing free labor that optimizes a foreigner's revenue stream. You are quite literally working for their algorithm.
Section 5. The cure. Mastering critical ignoring.
So what's the cure here? How do we actually stop this cycle? Well, traditional media literacy teaches us how to analyze what we see. But in today's attention economy, we need something called attention literacy. Specifically, we need a skill called critical ignoring. This is the deliberate skill of resisting cognitively attractive but manipulative information, no matter how incredibly flattering it is to your national pride. It's the conscious discipline of seeing a thumbnail with your country's flag on it and actively choosing not to click. It's about starving these exploitative creators of their primary commodity, your attention.
Applying this in real life actually comes down to 3 practical steps. Number 1, self-nudging. Take active control of your digital environment and just unfollow those channels that rely solely on surface-level reactions. Number 2, lateral reading. Before you hand over the highly valuable currency of your view, verify the creator's credibility and their true intent. And number 3, do not feed the baiters. Remember, any engagement, even a defensive comment, rewards them. Just block, ignore, and scroll right past. Withholding your engagement is literally the most powerful tool you possess. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to stop giving away your attention for free? Are you ready to realize that your culture absolutely does not need a foreign shout-out to be world class? By understanding the history of the analog Pabati and the deep scars of colonial mentality, we can finally decouple our national identity from this desperate need for foreign validation. Remember, your heritage is not an algorithm hack. True pride comes from within, completely unbothered by whether the rest of the internet is looking or not.